Good Monday morning, everyone. It's Chuck Bauer here, and it's time for our Chuck's Coaching Corner, and today is Monday, July 23rd. Hope all of you are doing well. We have about a week left in our sales month, and I hope you're really making a stretch to end the month with a big bang. Big bang, like July 4th. Okay, there you go. Today's lesson is titled, You Did Not Explain It Correctly. And as we all know in sales, sometimes we're given no's from our clients. Sometimes it might be a yes or a maybe, but many times we're told no and we're concluded with that client. And usually there are only 3 reasons why we're ever given a no. And sometimes in a rare situation there might be a 4th reason. But the 3 reasons are pretty simple why a salesperson would be given a no. Number 1 is that the client doesn't like you. Number 2 is that you did not explain it correctly. Number 3 is that you did something in that sales process to trigger a negative past sales experience with that client. And number 4, it might be price in some cases. If you're doing all the other things in the sales communication area and the follow-up and all the right things, and you're coming from a place of integrity and have major sales distinctions above and beyond your competitors, you should still be able to overcome a price situation if you're pretty close. And I wanted to just bring out one of my high-tech graphics to show you those 4 reasons of why you might be given a no. And actually, when my graphic team see this, I'm sure they're probably going to create something for me. But again, if you're given a no from a client, here's the 3 reasons, and the 4th one, which is infrequent. Number 1, they don't like you. Number 2, you didn't explain it correctly. Number 3, you triggered a negative past sales experience. And number 4 is the price one. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about number 2, and that is you didn't explain it correctly. And what I want you to know that in a person's mind, in a client's mind, everything that you do from start to finish, there's a little scorecard going off in their head. And I always look at it this way, and I always do this in front of audience. It's kind of funny, but there's a win column and a loss column. So when you're doing things and you're gaining confidence and trust and intimacy with that client, that win column is just, it's just checking off marks for you, and you're raising that scorecard. But when you start doing things that you shouldn't be doing, it starts picking off on the no side. So in the end, what does the client do? Is they judge us, okay? So when it comes down to that you did not explain it correctly, there's actually 3 things that come into play with this. And let me bring out my fancy graphics, and I guarantee you my graphic team is going to fix me up here. But what I call this right here is the client's judging scale. And when you're explaining things, the client is actually looking at 3 major things here. Number 1 is you, number 2 is the product, and number 3 is the company. So when you are doing a sales pitch, when you're communicating with that client, you got to be thinking that, there's 3 areas that I really need to explain correctly to the client. Number 1, I've got to explain me. What's your personal track record? Who are you as a person? Who are you as a business professional? Do they know you? And when they're done in that communication with you, on a scale from 1 to 10, where do they rank you on that scale? Are you at a 9, a 7, a 3? Where are you? The second thing that they rate you on is your product. Again, that scale's going off in the wins and losses of what's going on with that product. Are you on that high side and above 5, 6, 7, or 8, or maybe even 10 on your product? Or are you down on the low side? Do they really understand what your product is? The third one is your company. You've got to pitch your company. I don't care what it is that you're doing out there in the sales industry. Your client needs to be brought up to that level 10 on your company so that they'll make that decision to go with you. So think about that. Look at your scales right here, and I'll, again, using this high-tech graphic here. But look at your scales on you. Where are you with that client? On the product, where do you rate from 1 to 10? And on the company, where do you rate 1 to 10? So when we look at, I was given a no, and maybe it's because I didn't explain it correctly, you've got to look at those 3 other areas. Now, one other thing I want to throw out here in this area, then this is actually for another training that's much, much longer that we could ever do on the video here today, to keep it short, obviously. But you also have to remember different personality styles have different amounts of information, data that they can, basically input and then make a decision. So remember this, is that as you look at the company, the product, and you, and you're doing your sales pitches and sharing that information, remember this. Some clients like a little bit of information. They don't need a whole bunch to make a decision. Other clients need a little bit more and a little bit more, and some need a lot of data. Let's just go from one extreme to the other. The director dominant type of clients need just brief, concise, short information. They can make a decision. But on the other end of the extreme, you have the analytical thinker people who would never ever make a decision based on with just a little bit of information. They need all the data, what we call the data dump, before they can actually make a decision. So remember, we've got company, we have product, and we also have you, but we also have the different areas of how much information we're going to give those people so they can, again, get you up on that 8, 9, 10 on the scorecard and then make a positive decision to do business with you and your company. So I hope this information today has been helpful. Just one little thing in that whole sales process that you need to be thinking and implementing into your sales processes. Don't ever forget that if there's anything that I can ever do to help you, please let me know. And with that, we'll see you next week. Godspeed. Good selling. Take care. Bye-bye.